It's week 27. Let's take a look at what's happening in my garden this week. Just gonna go around and we're gonna harvest a few things and just look at how things are progressing. And then all these extra leaves just make an excellent mulch. So just use them, strew them in your pathway, and that'll decompose nicely and can be used later. And it's also a good weed barrier. Let's take a look at the difference between some of the different peas. This one here is what we call a snap pea. They're chubby. You can eat them in their entirety. Sometimes this little rib is a little tough, so we can rip it off, but generally that's good to go. Super sweet. And then these flatter guys here, this is what we call a snow pea. And once again, you can eat the whole thing. Also very sweet, actually sweeter I think than the snap pea, but that's going to depend a lot on the variety. And then finally over here we have the shelling pea, and these are the ones that we're going to break open and we're going to eat the peas on the inside. So I'm going to harvest these broccolis, and I'm going to leave, we're just going to take the main stem, the main head out, and then I'm going to leave the rest, and these are going to start to push up new buds, and then we can harvest multiple times from the same plant. The following heads that are going to appear are going to be smaller, but they're actually still going to be quite sizable. See, that's about the size of my head, maybe a little smaller. The next ones are going to be about a quarter of that size, and then they'll send up even more after that. But if your plant is bug infested, then just get rid of it and start with something new. And then I have this big fat kohlrabi over here that I actually kind of forgot about. And these are very, very tough at the root. There you go, look at that, right? Really nice size. You can eat the leaves. Generally when they're this size, I'm gonna trim them back like that, and wow, you got, I don't know, 3-4 meals off just one plant. So generally with chard, we're just gonna pick these outside stems, and note how I'm doing that. I'm just run my finger all the way down this rib over here, all the way to the bottom, and then I kind of just tear it off from there. You don't want to leave little stumps sitting there. So don't use a knife and cut them. Just use your hand and sort of tear them off the bottom. So I got my thumb in there. And you just kind of tear that off to the side. So these are new potatoes. I'm going to now start harvesting the entire plant. Don't know how productive they're going to be. Let's take a look down there. That's not a bad harvest off just one plant. Let's see what we all have here. This variety, Jazzy, is very productive, especially under good conditions. Oh, there's more down there. Nuts. We'll go all the way to the side here yet. Look at that. Hard to believe that's coming off one plant. Looks like I almost staged this. I can assure you I didn't. There. All right, that's it. This is the next plant over here, so I can leave that one. I got some wee little fennels over here. I'm probably going to leave them for another week or two now that they have a bit more light, that after I trim the chard over here. All right, a romaine lettuce that was tucked in here. Some of the outer leaves are getting attacked, so I'm just going to take out the main heart. Look at that. A little creature in there, but that's going to be really tasty. Romaine. When you're trimming rosemary, rather than just cut it right off, let's cut these little sprigs out. In fact, when you do that, your plant's going to bush right out and you're going to have more yield overall. Same thing with thyme. A lot of yours is probably going to be flowering right now. Let's cut it right out. Look at that. This plant's going to just respond with a huge burst of energy and new growth. And we're going to use this. And with a more established plant like this over here with the oregano, you can allow this to flower, and that's good. Bees are going to be happy, and a lot of other flying insects, because they have the perfect flower for it. It's a small flower, wasps like it, but if you want to be harvesting continuously from this, you're going to have to cut it back and allow it to push out a new growth. Well, we're on the topic of herbs. This cilantro here flowering attracts so many hoverflies and parasitic wasps that you wanna have some of this in your garden somewhere. At some point in time, I'm gonna have to remove some of this just to give light on some of the plants below. But I'm gonna leave it, let it seed, and then we'll have coriander, and we'll also have a lot of cilantro seed. It's very easy to save seed from, and it makes an excellent cover crop as well, or an addition into a cover crop mix. So it's a cheap way to accumulate lots of seeds. Okay, so let's take a look at this cucumber. I'm gonna grow them as a single vine up this trellis here. So just to give you a better view inside, I'm gonna cut off that leaf, which I normally wouldn't otherwise do. You can take a look, this is a main leader right over here. And between this leaf and the main leader, we have a sucker, but we also have a flower. So that's gonna be a flower and eventually fruit. So we're gonna cut this out. We're gonna have a tendril, most likely at each one of these segments. You can see a new one already forming in here. We're gonna have a sucker coming out of there, a flower and fruit, and a tendril. And that's gonna happen at every single nodal point. So I'm gonna leave that. I can't see what's going on, but you get the idea. This is probably something that should have been done maybe a week or so ago, but my garlic was planted quite late, and so my scapes are forming a lot later. But there's another excellent food source. Generally, you're gonna do this when your scapes have curled around about 270 degrees. It's generally the rule, or they form the letter P. And then we have fava beans. So these definitely save seed from these as well. Leave some on the bush, let them dry up, but another excellent food source, good nutrition, good protein. And of course, you can eat borage flowers. And all the borage over here it looks like a lot of borage, but it's really only just a few massive plants. And every once in a while, when I get a little tired of them, I just cut out one branch and say, hey, you're taking over a little bit too much space. I'll put that in the pathway, stomp it down. There's my mulch. If you have determinate tomatoes, like these bush type tomatoes in containers, I like to push them back a little bit. Don't give them all the opportunity to do whatever they want. So you could get in there and you could cut out some of the suckers, and definitely maybe some of the bottom leaves once they start to turn a bit, they start to look a little ugly. But if you take a look in close here, I'll show you what I mean. So if you look at the main stem over here, I got this side branch. I just find that, no, I don't want that side branch. That's gonna go. Just take that out. And I see one on the other side, and this is gonna alleviate the plant a little bit from a lot of weight that would otherwise form, because these side branches are gonna form fruit as well. And then I'm just gonna cut a couple more branches off at the bottom over here, and you can see it just cleans it up. And if I wanted to, maybe later on, I'm gonna cut this sucker out. I'll do it right now if I wanted to. So you can definitely prune bush tomatoes. Don't be afraid to bring in your scissors to do that. And then put a stake in your pot, drive it in, make sure you fasten it to the stake. That way the thing's not gonna keel over once it's full of fruit. And that's a huge problem with a lot of our determinate type tomatoes, because they bear so heavily and then they fall over. We don't want that. We're gonna keep that fruit off the ground, because it's gonna be attacked by insects that are walking around, or it's gonna rot when it's in contact with the soil. And then just a quick view of these tomatoes on the west facing wall. I give these ones here, as I don't have the irrigation in there, I give them just over a cup of water per day, and I'm monitoring them. I'm looking, are they happy? Do they look like they're happy? Just by visual inspection. I'll give them a bit of water, and now that it's gonna cool off a little bit over the next few days, I'm probably gonna hold back a little bit on the water. Don't overwater your tomatoes. It's one thing, especially if they're in containers, you can quickly cause things to go south if you do. A little less water would be preferred to overwatering for sure. And then I'm just pruning them, just cutting out the suckers, a daily inspection, and it's a lot of fun just to care for these plants. Very easy maintenance. Literally armfuls of food coming out of your garden. Continue to plant and seed, and we'll see you next week.